didn't have to knock me out, but I'm still holding the throne. You never know till it's over. So pretty it hurts. Just beware of the thorns.
Hello YouTube. Alright, I think today I'm going to talk about conduct violations in the whole. But before I do, if you're new here, you like prison content, subscribe. Hit that like, share, and comment. Alright, let's go. I don't know how many violations I've gotten. I didn't keep my write-ups. In fact, one time when I got a write-up that was BS, I told them I needed some toilet paper anyway. And they gave me some toilet paper too. But I guess they was trying to be funny. But when I first got to prison, everything wasn't in the computer system. So a lot of the write-ups, unless they was major ones, they didn't keep. Like minor write-ups, I just threw them away when they was putting everything in the computer system. And so they didn't bother with the minor ones. My first violation was out of bounds. I didn't even know I was out of bounds. I went out one morning, not long after, like a few days after I got there, and there's a bunch of people standing in front of the school, getting ready to go to school. Well, I was talking to a guy that lived next door to me, and he was talking to him, and this guard came up and asked for our IDs, and I said, what for? And they said, he said, do you guys go to school? And we said no, and he said, then you're out of bounds. So that was my first conduct violation, write-up, whatever you want to call it. I got one I couldn't really understand, because my violation said I was a victim of an assault. And that was the time I was telling you about. Them two guys worked me over on the upper yard, put the boots to me, all that. But I'm trying to think of all the different ones I've gotten. I've gotten contraband. That's when they search your cell and they find something that they deem being contraband. Even it got to where even if your personal clothes are ripped or something, they was considered contraband until they gave us sewing needles so we could sew our stuff. But altered devices, like Walkmans and things like that, broken headphones, all that was contraband. And Kevin, my partner, he did a lot of repairs on repairing people's headphones and stuff, and kept them from being taken, kept them from having to buy new ones. But it just got stupid with the violations. And I looked it up, and I was trying to find it. I guess they got rid of it, and I'm glad they did. But there for a while they had a violation that was called institutional rule. And what this meant, it was on every write-up. But really what this was is if you did something that they thought was wrong, but it was not in the rules, against the rules, and any of the rules they had, then they would write you up for institutional rule. It covered everything. And it was just, you could tell them, this is not a rule. They said, oh, it's institutional rule. So I got contraband, I got dangerous contraband, which, have things they consider dangerous. It's kind of self-explanatory. I had creating a disturbance, had a few of those. One of them, they was going to write me up for threats, and the caseworker talked them, the firm into changing it to creating a disturbance. And this is just where you, they call it disrupting the regular procedures of the prison. But, you know, it's what it is. You know, I've seen people get right for creating a disturbance, and I don't know how it was creating a disturbance. And then see what other ones I got. I got most of them was contraband. There was a bunch of fights, especially when I first got to prison. And like I said, that one where they put the boots to me, that was I got rolled up for that too, and the violation said I was a victim of an assault. I ain't figured that one out. I got one where I refused to do a UA for him, and the reason why is the guard that was doing it was leaning down about 6 inches from my groin area. So I told him, I said, I can't go with you like that, you know. And he said, well, you got 2 hours to go. And I said, can you just raise your head up just a little bit, you know? I almost got a violation one time for it was like a appeal thing. Another time, they shook the walls down. They locked us all down. They showed these rated X movies and kept us locked down and just tore the whole prison up and tore every cell up. And people that had lawsuits against the prison or whatever, they tore up their paperwork. They didn't care. And these guys were supposed to come in every 6 months or so. Usually they didn't. You know, a lot of times they didn't. But later on, you know, guards would come by and they'd tell somebody like me or somebody, hey, Goon Squad's going to be here in the morning. And kind of give us a heads up, you know. The thing about that is it would depend on what guard told you. Some guards just said that just to watch you get rid of stuff, you know. They thought it was funny. But the others were serious about it, you know, and it was true. There's this one guard in Licking that always told us, and we always took what he said seriously. And sure enough, the next morning, like 1 o'clock in the morning, they'd come in, they'd turn the toilets off and stuff, and they would just go from house to house. And when they got to your house, your cell, they would have you, when they got to your cell, they'd have you come out of your cell, they'd strip search you in the cell, and then you come out in your boxers, handcuffed, and you have to stand against the wall while they search your cell. And then they'd go on. And there have been a few times where they'd say, we're going to put a trash can out here. Any contraband you have, you slide out and nothing will be said. This is, you know, you got a 10-minute warning to get rid of it. Nobody will get rolled up. You'd hear stuff sliding across the floor and sliding out onto the wing, and I mean, all kinds of stuff. But they had different types of punishment. They had cell restriction, you know, when you got rolled up, got a conduct violation. They had, well, first they had warnings, which really wasn't a conduct violation. It was just it could be a verbal or a written warning. Then they had cell restrictions. This is where you was restricted to your cell, but every once in a while you was allowed to make phone calls. Then they had limited spin. So let's say you got the violation in December and they gave you limited spin, then they would give you limited spin for January. And what that limited spin meant, you could only buy things that you absolutely need, like soap, toothpaste, things like that, cosmetic stuff. You couldn't buy food or tobacco or coffee or anything like that. So, like if you was able to go to the store before January got there, you stocked up. Then they had they had different amounts of time you could go to Whole for. 10 days, 20 days, 15 days, different amounts. Like when you went to, if you got a violation for like a dangerous contraband like I did, they put you in a hole for a while, and then you're most likely going to go to Potosi. And you do, if you go to Potosi is a punishment camp. You do, well, this is the way it was when I was in. You do 9 months in the hole there. I mean, off top. It may be more, but most likely 9 months. You're doing at least 9 months before they let you out, and then it's a step-up program. I got a violation one time for having a mic in my stereo that I didn't even know was there. It was their fault because these stereos, they're supposed to take all the mics out, and this one, I guess they didn't. But I got wrote up for it. I did 15 days disciplinary segregation, and then 4 months while I was under investigation. There's two types of hold time. There's disciplinary segregation. That's when you get your 10 days, 15 days, whatever. And then there's administrative segregation. That's when you come out off the disciplinary and you're waiting to go back out to the population. Sometimes you have to wait a while. So during that time, you can get one phone call a week. It's usually on the weekend. And like every other day or something, they take you out to a cage for an hour or so. So you had ADSEG, that's short for administrative segregation. You had DISSEG, was disciplinary segregation. And as far as investigations go, they say they ain't supposed to keep you longer than, I think it was 3 or 4 months, 120 days, 90 days, something like that. But there's been people down there longer than that. I've been to the hole for things I didn't do. Maybe a couple of them I could have got out of it if I would told, but I don't do that. I remember the guard shaking this one cell down. It's like 2 cells down from him, and he found a needle in there, like a syringe. He asked them which one it is. Said, who's this belong to? Well, neither one of them admitted to it. And he told them, look, whoever this is needs to own up, man up and take the rap, because if not, you're both going to the hole. Well, the guy who it belonged to never said anything, so they both went to the hole. This, later on down the road, caused problems because they end up fighting. But, I mean, if you have something and they tell you something like that, you just need to go ahead and man, don't let yourself take the rap for it, or go to the hole with you because you didn't say anything. I mean, that's just... that's just dirty there, But anyway, That he never said anything. They both went to the hole, and everybody was mad at him, you know, telling him, you know, saying what a POS he was, you know, how bad of a person he was. But I think that the strangest time I was in the hole was when my level got dropped from a 5 to a 1, and I was waiting to go. Well, I was actually hoping they didn't transfer me. Stayed on the yard as long as I could. I think it was about 2 weeks, and then the caseworker calls me and says, pack your stuff. You're going to one house. One house is a single man. It's the hole, but it's single man cells. It's long term. And I said, why? And they said, you're level 1. We can't have you on the yard. And I said, I've been on this yard for 12 years. I said, what's it? You know, another 16 months. Because that's how much I had until I got released. They said, well, you ain't going to be here 16 months because you're going to get transferred. I said, well, can I stay on the yard until I'm transferred? They said, no. If something was to happen to you and your people sued, they would win. We can't have that. So we're putting you in the hole for your safety. And so they put me in one house. And I was there about a month, maybe a little bit longer than a month. Even the guards over there were saying, what'd you do? What'd you do to get over here? And I'd tell them, they'd say, what? I said, yeah. And they couldn't believe it. And I said, man, I would have signed a waiver or anything. But that's the way it was. So I went to the hole. And not only did I go to the hole, I went to a one-man cell for a month for something I didn't even do, for my level getting dropped. I even made a video about that. But I can't count the number of write-ups I've had. I mean, it was... I've had more than a lot of people have had, and I've had less than a lot of people had. There's people that got write-ups all the time, went to the hole all the time. I personally believe, you know, you have your people on the streets, they say, just stay out of trouble. You can't stay out of trouble. I mean, people may argue with me about this, but the prisons that I've been in, you couldn't stay out of trouble. The only place that I did not get any violations was in Algoa. And, you know, it's level 1. I mean, there was stuff that happened there too, but it wasn't like in the level 5s, you know. I don't see how anybody can do 29 years without getting violations. I just do not see it. Unless you're in the hole all the time, you're in PC, I don't see it happening. You know, there's going to be people that disagree with you on certain things, and this is going to happen or that's going to happen. You know, people are going to try different things, and you know, you got to do what you got to do. There are sometimes also that, let's say I didn't get any violations. I didn't do anything to get any violations. I still went to the hole for some things I didn't do. So it doesn't matter. You know, you can be squeaky clean, and my bet is you're going to go to the hole sooner or later if you have to do a long period of time. All right, that's all I got for you today. I thank you for watching, and see you next time.